You might be thinking why I have chosen this place, like sitting on the roof of a house. Behind you can see like a poetry form, and there are the lush green leaves and trees, and the vast the plains around me, the grounds full of grass and trees, the open areas, and there are sheep and animals moving around those places, and the sun is just in front of me. It's the time for sun setting almost. The sun is about to set. I'm not sure that I will be able to complete this poem before the sun sets, or maybe we shall be continuing it in the darkness of sun setting as well. I will not be visible to you, but that's not the problem. I'm not here to show you my face. We are here to study the life from a different perspective of John Keats in his very much beautiful poem. This poem is about life, and if you are a student of discourse analysis, you can also go through the thematic progression of this poem and the turns of themes throughout this poem as well. If you want to consider that point, this poem is an interesting case study for you for that one as well. Let's go through the poem Ode to a Nightingale. Ode, as you know, is a form of poetry, what in Arabic and Urdu we call qasida. It's a long poem, typically about a subject, about one person, or about a theme, or about something, or about one person. And you exaggerate it too much. You make a long poem, you write a long poem about that. That is called an ode, a form of poetry. So, before understanding this poem, let's consider few points. Whenever you are going to read the works of classicists and romantics like John Keats or maybe P.B. Shelley and Wasteland by T.S. Eliot and Shakespearean plays, when you are going to read the textbooks of these classic literature, keep in your mind that whatever the classicist people wrote, these great people, what they have written, you can write hundreds of books on the commentary of these things, but what the modern people are writing, the whole books of 300 or 500 pages can be packed into 1 or 2 chapters. So there is so much stuff but meaningless. These are very little masterpieces of literature, but full of multi-layered meanings. There are various meanings and themes you will find in these type of literature pieces. So the other thing that you should keep in your mind, that these people, what they have written, like John Keats and these biggies, what they have written is full of meaning, it's full of classical knowledge, it's full of many references, and also it's full of heavy vocabulary items from imagination, from the poetic license, from the poetic own sense of imagination, is fancy, and his magical force and magical skill of how to use the grammatical and rhetorical features of language in their pieces of writing. So you must be good at rhetoric, at language skills, at grammar, at fine points of phraseology, and many other interesting things you might be knowing. That's why I'm gonna help you if you are a student of romantic poetry in your BS or master's classes. Anywhere in any university of the world, if you are a university student, and as I have been talking with the students of Damascus University from Syria, they told me that they were reading the poetry of John Keats and others in the Arabic versions as well in Arab universities in the countries like Syria and Egypt and others. And also in India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, you know that the students of these countries in all universities, they're offering this course of romantic poetry, and romantic poetry doesn't complete without reading and understanding John Keats. So in whichever university you are a part of, I am here, a university lecturer from Pakistan, to teach you this poem now, and keep in your mind that you must be good at understanding the mythological references, the Greek classic historical references, and the works of classics are also included or referred to in the works of these people. Let's explore everything. That's why our university students these days, they find it difficult to understand the lines of these type of writers. Let's have an intensive reading of John Keats' poem Ode to a Nightingale. Keep in your mind, John Keats died just at the age of 26 years old. He lived a life of miseries and disturbances, and many sad events took place in his life, occurred in his life, happened in his life. So if you want to fully understand this poem, just open up the text of this poem in hard form, in a paper form. Keep the text of this poem in front of you, and let's travel. Let's go to another world. Let's go into the world of this wide sky. In front of me there is open sky. That's why I have chosen this place to sit here on the top of the third floor, the third story of a house. I have chosen this place to be at height, to see the open sky in front of me, and take you with me to the traveling of that, the world of imagination. But the interesting thing is, Keats will also bring us back to the real world. He does not want us to be wandering just in the world of imagination. There is the thematical progression. There are many turns of themes in this beautiful poem. So open up the text of this poem and keep in paper form in front of you. Just have a beautiful pen or a highlighter in your hands to note down the important information that I am going to share with you about many references and difficult words. Let's read this beautiful poem intensively. Ode to a nightingale. My heartache is and a drowsy numbness pains. My heartache is. You have heard about headache. You have a pain in your head, but here the poet says heartache is. There is a pain in the heart. Something heavy is pressing his heart. Sometime it happens. Like Neil Perry, how he died in the Dead Poets Society. He had a storm in his brain that was pushed, that was killed by the brutality of the system, of parents, of educational institutes, policies, of restricted boundaries that we put and force upon the individual. And individual is dead by the cruelty of the traditions. So individual versus tradition, the wonderful essay by T.S. Eliot as well that you can read. So my heartache is, there is a pain in the heart of the poet, and a drowsy numbness pains, a drowsy numbness, a feeling of sleepiness, of a sleepy feeling, drowsy, you are feeling sleepy. Like you are sitting in a classroom attending a lecture, and sometimes if the lecture is boring, you feel sleepy. A drowsy numbness pains. What is this numbness? If there is extreme winter, cold conditions, and you know your fingers, you cannot move them. You cannot pick up a pen. You cannot write with your fingers because they are frozen due to the extreme cold weather conditions. So your fingers, when you cannot move them, they are numb. That state of numbness in the heart. My heartache is, and a drowsy numbness pains. My sense as though of hemlock I had drunk. So hemlock here refers to alcoholic drink, like a drug. So it seems my sense, it has completely blurred my senses, my awareness, my consciousness. It seems like I have drunk hemlock, or I have drunk some drugs that make you forgetful about the things around you, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. Or emptied here mean, or is it like that, like I have drunk the whole bottle of opium, of drugs, the things that make you forgetful about the real life. I am feeling just like that, as I have drunk something. Now notice, the poet has not drunk anything. Don't feel him like a drug addict or something like that. He was really a genius person. He had knowledge of many things. So don't think like that. He's just saying, it seems like, I'm feeling like I have drunk, emptied. I have drunk the whole bottle of alcoholic drinks, or opium. To the drains. Drains here mean like I have drunk the bottle of alcoholic drink or drugs till the last drop. 1 minute passed and Leith wards had sunk. So Leith, they say, like, let me share with you details. I don't want just to go through the text without giving you the details of every single word. So Leith was forgetting everything, because Leith is the name of a river in Greek mythology. It flows in Hades, the underground world. He who drinks from it forgets all. This is the description. You can note down these descriptions to understand the text fully. So the Leith is actually a river. Whosoever drinks water from it, he forgets everything. So And Leithward, 1 minute passed, and Leithwards had sunk, like I had gone through the depth of the Leith river, because I am forgetting everything in just 1 minute. My heart is aches. I'm feeling so painful. I'm just forgetting everything. I'm just forgetting everything. I'm so feeling so painful in my heart. 'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot. This not through envy of thy happy lot. So now here the poet starts a dialogue with the nightingale. The poet now starts talking with the nightingale. That is a bird. In Urdu, because many of our audience belongs to India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, so in Urdu we say this bird, nightingale, bulbul. In Urdu we have the word, and this nightingale bird is actually famous for beautiful songs. The nightingale has such a beautiful, amazing voice. When it sings, this bird, it comes on trees and it sings. The songs of this bird are so amazing to listen and to be enjoyed. They are so beautiful actually. So now the poet John Keats starts talking with the nightingale, and he says, "'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot." This condition is not because of the jealousy of how happy you are. Because of your happy state, this is not a jealousy that makes me forgetful about the things around me, but being too happy in thine happiness. Rather, I am also sharing your joy in me. Same as you are enjoying and happy, I am feeling, I am sharing a part of joy. We are having some shared joy. I am not having envy or jealousy of your happy state, being too sad, but I am being involved. I am sharing with you your happiness with me. "'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou light-winged Dariad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beechen green and shadows numberless, singst of summer in full-throated ease." Let's see. That thou light-winged, a small bird who has whose wings are not so heavy. They are light-winged. They have very light weights. That thou here mean you whose little birds, you are the Dariad of the trees. So what is a Dariad? Let me share with you. It's a wood nymph. According to the Greeks, a Dariad was a nymph inhabiting a tree and keeping watch over it. A nymph, a supernatural creature that sits over a tree and keeps watching it, according to Greeks. So the nightingale is like the nymph, a supernatural creature that sits above a tree and keeps watching and observing it and keep curing it. And you bird are like that nymph of the Greek mythology, the nymph of tree. That thou light-winged Dariad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beechen green and shadows numberless. You are in some plot where are numberless shadows of trees and plants. And in that beautiful environment, you singst of summer in full-throated ease. You think about the summer. You sing about the beautiful summer weather in England. Now consider the society of England and London, England's environment, the European cities environment, where the summer is a season of happiness, of joyness, of like that. And the May, which was also mentioned in Prologues to Canterbury Tale by Geoffrey Chaucer, and Anglo-Norman, who is also said to be the father of English poetry. So he says, in these green and beautiful things, in some melodious plot, some beautiful song full of musical rhythm and melody, a beautiful voice, you singst mean you sings or you sing of summer in full-throated ease. Now full-throated ease here mean you sing so openly without controlling your voice in your full sound, openly in full-throated ease, opening your full throat and easily singing in joy. Now he addresses again in the next stanza. He says, "Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep alved earth. Oh, for a draught of vintage." For one draught. What is a draught? The quantity of liquid that one keeps while swallowing into the mouth. In Urdu we say ek ghoont. like that. For a draught of vintage, one drop of drugs drinking, that hath been cooled a long age in, that had been cooled. If you put the vintage or alcoholic drinks and alcohol or wine in the underground and keep it cool there for a long time, and you spend time with it, it becomes more tasty. It increases its power of affecting you, and its fragrance is also increased by putting it into some cold place underground. So it seems for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep alved earth, like underground deep, it was buried in the earth to keep for a long time, to increase its magical powers. Tasting of flora and in the country green, dance and provincial song and sun-burnt mirth. Mirth means the endless joy that is burned by the sunlight in summer. And the provincial song, this is about the provinces, the place is France, I think so. And let me make it sure so that I may not misguide you or mislead. Yes, province is the name of a region in the south of France. Yes, so provincial songs, like those songs which are famous for the love song, it's love of song and dance, and it's also famous for its delicious wine, this place in France. So Provence was the home of medieval songsters singing of love as well. So provincial song means the music of province. So those sad love making musics and sounds with those songs and this vintage. Oh, for a beaker full of warm south. In the southern area there is warm, like in Italy and Rome you will find a bit warm weather conditions. If you are European, I hope so you will testify and justify, and you will approve my hypothesis, which we have been understanding through the different social media sources. Oh, for a beaker full of warm south. For a beaker, like a pot, like a cup, like a glass that is full of warm south, full of the true, the blushful Hippocrene. So Hippocrene is the goddess of wine. So it means it's full of such an amazing wine in it, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim. You know, at the bottom part of your glass, of your cup, some bubbles of water or wine they are gathered there. You can see some bubbles beaded winking at them. And purple stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the word unseen. Here is a turn now. Now, after describing the whole condition of wine and how I shall drink, that I might drink. I might drink. He's not sure that he will drink. I might drink. It seems like I had drunk. And leave the word unseen. Here is an escape from the word of miseries, troubles, tribulations for other, where you have no one to share your groans. There is no one to share, to listen your pains and sufferings. Like in Urdu they say, "Hum ishq ke maaron ka bas itna hi fasana hai, rone ko nahi koi, hasne ko zamana hai." So a word where you cannot share your pains and sufferings and sorrows, that I might drink and leave the word unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim, and with you I may also fade away into deep forest, and I may leave this world around me. I want to get dissolved into the deep thick forest. I want to go away with you. Now let's keep the thematic development of this poem. Keep observing this poem, how it works, how it goes to climax, and how it changes. There's a shift, there is a turn. Fade far away. Now here there is a turn in theme. Now he is saying that I want an escape. He wants an escape from this world of suffering and sorrow. He gives the reason why he wants this escape and to be a part of the nightingale. Now the sun is setting in front of me, and you will find a shade of sun setting. Can you see on my face the darkness coming on my face? And in the atmosphere here, there is no artificial lights. This time in this recording you will not find any artificiality of lighting and anything. It's just natural. So it's just getting dark and the sun is setting in front of me. So in these beautiful sights, let's continue our journey, our escape from this painful world. Fade far away, dissolve, and quite forget, fade far away. Let me disappear into an unseen world, dissolve, let me burn and finish myself, let me die, and quite forget what thou among the leaves hast never known. Why? What is the thing that Keats wanted to get escape from? Those things which Nightingale have never seen. The nightingale, those birds, they don't know the pains and sufferings of human beings. They are just enjoying in the forest. They are enjoying moving around the world and universe so freely. They don't know the human pains and sufferings that human beings are suffering here. What thou among the leaves, you living among the leaves and trees, has never known. Those pains I want to get away. I want to quite forget. So see the beautiful phrases that John Keats makes. Now what are those sufferings that he wants to get escape from? And the nightingale is not aware of, and nightingales and other birds are not familiar of. What are those sufferings? The weariness, the tiredness, the exhaustiveness. When you get exhausted from this world, the responsibilities and the cruelties of the world, the cruel people. For a sensitive person, for a soft-hearted person, for an emotional being, it's really difficult to survive in the postmodern era when the materialism has too much overwhelmed the whole human society. So the weariness, you get tired of these people, of fighting with the people, with the negative thoughts, with the overthought thinking, and when there is too much, everyone is busy in his material pursuits of life. The weariness, when you get tired of your diseases, of your troubles, of your sorrows, of your griefs. The fever, the diseases that make people die, the diseases, the pains, seeing other people dying of pains and miseries and diseases, fever. You know, John Keats' brother died of TB, his sister died of TB, he himself also died of TB, tuberculosis, and other people also had many serious diseases in those times. Now we see people dying because of cancer. I saw my own mother in front of my own eyes. She was dying. She was taking her last breath. She was a cancer patient. So we saw that. I cannot forget those pains and that sad sight from my sight. I cannot forget. Really, that was so sad. The weariness, the fever, and the fret, the diseased conditions. Here, when men sit and hear each other groan, on this human planet, in this human life, where human beings sit together, and when one person starts sharing his griefs, another one is listening to him for a long time, and then there is turn taking, what in discourse we say sequential organization of the text. When you're talking about the conversation analysis, you will find that. So you are talking, another person listening for a long time, all your pains, your troubles. Then it's his turn and you become listener and he starts speaking. So human beings, they go to cafeteria, they go to tea houses. In university cafeteria, you will find many people sitting with opposite gender, members of opposite genders, or sometime maybe they are sitting with the members of the same gender, sitting together like friends, sharing their griefs. They have many pains inside them that they want to share with other people with a cup of tea. So here the human life where men sit with each other, when men sit and hear each other groan, the cry that comes out of your heart because of the pains, where Pazi shakes a few sad lost grey hairs, where Pazi, the people whose organs are paralyzed, whose arm or the leg cannot move, the old people sitting alone in front of the main doors of the houses, sitting in the city streets, and just looking towards the open air and waiting for someone to talk with. If there comes their children, their grandchildren, they are old. They cannot move sometime. They are on wheelchairs sometime. The patients, the dying people, the sad and depressed people, the old people, a few sad lost grey hairs, then they're bald. They lose their hairs because of their depressions, their anxiety, their tough times, their fears. and gray hair, their hairs become white and gray. Where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies, where youth grows pale, where young people have yellow faces, they have pale, they have lost the beauty of their faces, they have lost the redness of their hands and faces, they have lost, they are consuming their blood, even the young people. And we have been observing in our universities, the people belonging to very young generation, they seem like old people. They are losing the charms and natural beauties of their bodies because of obsession of the sorrows and sufferings and overthinkings and never-ending crisis of materialistic competition of the world. The sun is about to set and it's just getting dark, and the weather is also cold today, and a little bit of cold here we have in this, some bad health conditions and also with me, but it's all a part of life. Where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies, and they die because of their extreme diseases and sorrows and sufferings and their pains. And where but to think is to be full of sorrow, and leaden-eyed despairs. The eyes are so heavy with tears, and there is disappointment. Even thinking is always full of sorrows. You just have to stop thinking if you want to be happy. So all of this modern stuff on, like the book Power of Now and Stephen R. Covey's 7 Habits, well, what are these scientists or social scientists or the philosopher and the other person, I cannot recall his name, like Dale Carnegie, I don't know the exact English pronunciation. His books, How to Be Happy, just getting busy and forgetting the things and be happy. So that is not the solution. Whenever we shall start thinking again, we shall become worried, we shall become sad, and it will be tragic to see. So, and where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies, where but to think is to be full of sorrow, and leaden-eyed despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine in them beyond tomorrow, where love is also something that is mortal, where beauty is also mortal. The beauty does not long for so long. Like Shakespeare said about, like, should I compare thee to a summer's day? And beauty also disappears with the growing age, with the passage of time. We lose over here, like me, you can see I have very small hairs in front of at my head. You can see my cheeks, they're losing their beauty, charm and redness as I used to have in my young age because of many sufferings and things that I have gone through. So you also need a personal experience to understand a piece of text. If you want to do a real discourse analysis and want to get the themes from words, you should also have your real pains and personal experiences as well to be in alignment with the thoughts of the poet. So beauty also disappears with the growing age. Now see here what happens. Here is again a thematic turn in the text. Away, away. This turn is not about sequential organization. I'm talking about the theme, how it develops and it progresses. Here is a thematic turn in the poem. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not carroted by Bacchus and his bards. Bacchus is mean like the drinking material. And what is actually the meaning of this word? Let me share with you the actual word that was used in the fourth stanza. Yes, Bacchus, he is the god of wine. In Greek mythology, he is represented as traveling in the chariot drawn by leopards or tigers or lions. Parrots are leopards, panthers, not charioted. So Keats rejects the idea of riding the chariot of Bacchus, the god of wine. He says, no, I will not disappear with you. I will not fade away with you by the power of wine. These alcoholic drinks cannot move me. They cannot take me to the state of forgetfulness. I will not take long draughts of these wines and things like that. No. I will fly with the power of my imagination. I will fly with the power of poesy, the poetry, the imagination, the fancy. My fancy will make me fly. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not carroted by Bacchus and his bards, by like a car being moved by lions and the things. In the old age we had these type of carts which were dragged by the animals. We are pulled by the animals like modern day cars, you can say. I will not come with them. The power of wine will not move me and make me fly with you. But on the viewless wings of poesy, I will fly with invisible wings of poetry, imagination, and fancy. Though the dull brain perplexes and retorts, although my brain is so much stuffed with these, is overwhelmed by these sufferings and sorrowful thoughts. So sad. Already with thee tender is the night, and there is always a soothing and motherly night is also with you. And happily the queen moon is on her throne. So now the moon is being personified like a queen, around which the stars are in clusters. Like there is a moon in the center, and around you will find stars around the moon. What a beautiful imagery he has used. Already with thee tender is the night, and happily the queen moon is on her throne. The queen moon is on her throne, and sky seems to be its throne. Now in front of me, the sun is just about to set, and the whole grounds and the plants in front of me, they have a reddish shade on them of this dying sun or setting sun. I'm really enjoying this beautiful poem in such a place. And happily the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by her starry face. But here there is no light. What a beautiful thing he has said. In your world there is night, but the queen moon is there to give light, and it is clustered by stars around it. But here on this human world there is no light. Consider the time when there were not so much artificial lights and electricity, and these lamps were not so common in England. In those times, consider the candle lights and things like that. Save what from heaven is with the breezes blown through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. Now see the shift in the next stanza. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs. Incense hangs upon the bough. Look at this beautiful expression. Now if there is incense or fragrance or beautiful smell on the boughs and branches of the trees, and there are flowers at the ground being crushed by my feet, I don't know what's going on there. But in embalmed darkness, like a preserved corpse, like a dead body buried. But in darkness, guess each sweet wherewith the seasonable month endows, and endows mean to confer, to give, to bestow. So seasonable month here means May, the beautiful month. The grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn and pastoral eglantine. There are different wild roses and other types of trees and flowers that he's mentioning. I think there will be too dark here after the sun sets. So that's why I have taken the speed to end up the poem.